All right. Hey, everybody. We are in SecureChainCon in our what we call our beer and donuts phase, which really is an opportunity for us to get together and chat. This is a really chatty open source community. We have a lot of fun, and our meetings can be pretty chatty. So I'm not sure why we add another one, but we do. We call it our beer and donuts because some people are in the UK or in India. Others are in the US. It's morning, so some people are enjoying a glass of wine or a pint of beer while the rest of us are having breakfast. So thank you for being here, and it's really fun we used to call this the Visionary Summit, and we did it as a way to educate and to allow our committers to have a format for learning how to do talks, basically. And it's become pretty popular. We've broadcast it in several places. But first, I just want to say, welcome to everyone. Find out if the team has any interesting things to tell us today. If somebody learned something that we should all know. If we just want to have a chat about what the community's been to you, anybody can chime in here. Let us know what it's been like to participate in the Ortelius community. We have some folks like Jing. I'd love to hear from you. Tony recruited you. Let us know what your experience has been.
Yeah, thanks. I actually love it. And also it's a great opportunity to work with people internationally, and some of them are so smart, so nice. So it's a great journey for me. And again, this is my first open source project, so thank you for giving me the opportunity to working with you guys. I definitely recommend to anybody interested.
Well, it is our pleasure, Jane. And we have really focused and worked on making this a very diverse and inclusive open source community. Everybody talks about D&I. We are really, really trying to implement it. So I oftentimes spend a lot of time on LinkedIn recruiting women. And Tony Corrado, thank you very much, because you have brought some women into this group too. And I so much appreciate it.
Glad to do it. It's important to get talent from where it is, not with silly ideas about what the talent ought to look like.
Thank you for saying that. It's, I'm the host of Tech Strong Women on Tech Strong TV, and there has definitely been a decrease in the number of women in technology since COVID. We had one of the, I think she was a chief strategy officer for Manpower, and they focused on technology at the time in her area. And she said during COVID, women just dropped like flies because somebody had to stay home and educate the kids. And then women struggled to get back in because they were, 3 years out of work. And the technology during that time, we went through quite a shift. We started doing everything from monolithic types of applications, and then Kubernetes became popular. And so things changed, and they lost their skill sets. So we're just getting back to it. And organizations like Ortelius, we really want to focus on making sure that the women out there who want to get back to work have a place to refine their skill sets, and we have plenty of work to do. So today I'm going to go through committer recognitions. Super excited to do that. We have some amazing announcements. OpenSSF Scorecard Workshop comes directly after that, and Steve Taylor will be doing that. And then we will move to the Twitch channels, where we'll have a keynote, a panel discussion, and three lightning talks. So first is our keynote. Caroline Wong is an amazing presenter. You're really going to enjoy this presentation. She's going to talk about, it's not a very long presentation. I think it's about maybe 17 minutes, 20 minutes tops. She's going to talk about how important it is in our security models right now to explore both defensive strategies as well as offensive strategies in cybersecurity. She is the Chief Strategy Officer at Cobalt.io. It's a cybersecurity company, and she has some amazing insights. She also is an author and wrote a book on the metadata of security, which I have downloaded on my phone, and I still have to read it because that's something that we're also interested in. Speaking of metadata, Our panel today is monitored by Steve Taylor, John Linford of the open source group, Luigi Gabello from the OpenSSF metrics and metadata group, and myself will have a discussion on what actionable metrics are and what metadata we should be collecting in order to track and make those metrics useful to us. Akash Bhaskar, he is from Cisco, and he's done a really interesting talk on DevSecOps for network operations. I think the team chose this topic because it's not one that we often have. And there are so many aspects of security that we all get focused in our particular areas. You know, we think about supply chain and open source packages, but there's so much more to it. And going along with Carolyn's, offensive and defensive strategy or cybersecurity strategies, this talk fit perfectly. And then to add to that, we have John Schell from TestifySec. They are the company that has a couple of open source projects. One is basically it's like an SBOM. It's called In Toto, and he's gonna tell us about what that looks like. I think this is going to be an important tool and probably something that we'll be gathering the data from within Ortelius. And then I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things to talk about right now, which is the HERO project, having a way to involve DevOps to DevSecOps using both CD events and the Ortelius project as a central evidence store. This is a project that we are starting to work on at the Continuous Delivery Foundation, and it's getting some traction. So we're pretty excited about that. So I'm just going to do a brief introduction of that. And it wouldn't be right for us to continue on without giving a nod to our namesake. For those of you who are new, Abraham Ortelius was born in 1527, died in 1598. Which was a good ripe old age for a person during that period of time. He is known in history as the inventor of the first world atlas, or what he called Ortelius's Theatrum Orbis Terrarum. He took multiple cartographers' maps from different countries and from different journeys. And he basically started looking at them all to determine what was the kind of the least common denominator across them all. For example, the Horn of Africa, some maps had it going way far because they could not calculate latitude. They could calculate longitude because of the North Star, but they couldn't do latitude. And you never knew how fast you were going. So sometimes it seemed like that horn was really, really big, and sometimes it looked really small. So he put that all together and he published it. And he was also the first person who discovered continental drift. So that was his theory. I find that he's an interesting character in history because he probably was the first open source. It was probably one of the first open source projects because they provided that data to him so he could work on that. And there were two other individuals who worked on it as well. And it was published on May 20th, I think in 1570, which is why we celebrate this SecureChainCon is on May 24th, just because Wednesdays are a hard day to do a conference. So thank you, Abraham Ortelius, for your brilliance. And we kind of thought he looked like an alien. So therefore, our logo is not Ortelius's face, but however, the shape of his head, which is very alien-like. All right, we're going to go through some awards. This year, we've had lots of contributions. I'm super excited about the awards this year. First of all, Utkar Sharma, he has rocked it. This man has been a primary contributor to the project. He is in Oxford right now and working on a master's degree and is very, very busy. But he still received the top Continuous Delivery Foundation contributor for 2023. And he received our top contributor award in 2023. And he also was the first person to receive a gold legend badge, which happened last December. So Utkarsh, we honor you. We have enjoyed your participation, and we hope that your time at Oxford is going well, and we hope to see you soon. So we have some new bronze ambassadors, Raj, Elizabeth, Kate, Jing, and Afzal. Now, some of you know these individuals and some of you don't. Afzal is actually kind of busy. He does his own thing in the background. He doesn't attend many meetings, but when he does contribute, he always is involved in both the project side, the ambassador side, and the coding side. And while he's quiet and he doesn't attend meetings, we appreciate the work that he's done. And Elizabeth and Kate and Jing, you guys all represent the best in women in tech. So thank you for being here, and we look forward to the next year of your contributions. Continuing on that theme, some of the folks who received their Bronze Ambassador Award include John Linford, John Schill, Akash, Luigi, and Caroline for their efforts in SecureChainCon. And I know there's so many conferences, so I am honored that these individuals were willing to step up and help us with this one. Because security is an issue for us and everybody should be learning about it. And we really want to make this as educational as possible. And then Mr. Corrado, he has been such an amazing mentor. He recruits people, he gives us direction, he writes blogs. There's not anything that Tony can't do. And he has achieved his Gold Ambassador Award. So Tony, thank you and congratulations for working with us for a few years and earning that status.
Thank you very much.
And then we have some Bronze Champion recipients. Afzal, he not only is he doing quietly work in the ambassador area, he has done quiet work in the Git repo, as well as Jen Power has been doing, she works on the Emporus code base. She's been doing a lot of work in that area over the last year, actually. And Raj, thank you so much for jumping in, even though you're finishing school. And I know that it's been a busy time. And I know you've been working with Steve on doing a lot of work. And I thank you for that effort. Now let me talk about these GitHub handles. There has been, slowly over the course of time, new contributors to the Git repo. Most of these contributors are not contributing code. They're contributing new tickets, issues. They do documentation. Somebody, it sounds like they're outside. If I can find that. So some of these individuals have done a lot of work. They may be people who've actually adopted the platform because they've opened tickets. They may be people who just enjoy doing documentation. But I thought I don't have their emails. I have very little insight about them. If anybody knows any of these folks, please let them know that they can sign up for the Google groups and we can get their email so they can get their badges. But all these folks have made contributions in the last 6 to 8 months that we felt was at least acknowledge their GitHub handles. And thank you again for those individuals for the work they've done in opening tickets, testing, potential adoption, and documentation. And then Jen, with all of her work she's done, she has achieved the silver level of champion. She has her work on Emporus has been quiet, kind of like a lot of us, go and just get our work done. That's what she's been doing, and she's got she's done a lot of contribution to that project. And then bronze legend recipient. So in order to be a legend, you have to have contributed in both blogs, presentations, and code contribution. Both Raj and Afzal have achieved that. And thank you, Raj. Again, I know you're finishing school, so for you to get to both bronze, for bronze legend, to do both champion ambassador, there's some work involved in that. So thank you. And then Sasha, I don't know if Sasha is here today. Sasha has wanted this from the very beginning. I remember when we first put the recognitions up, He was like, I want to get a gold legend. Well, he did it. So Sasha is kind of our DevOps man. He is all about standing up environments. He wrote a series of blogs about how to bake a Ortelius pie, which is, if you've never worked in that area, follow those. He sets out the directions pretty clearly. It's a great way to learn. There's a series, I think, of three blogs with an introduction called Peeling an Onion, I think he referred to it as. But he also does the work. So he's blogging and he's doing a lot of this technical, environmental operations type work. And I don't know what we would do without him. So Sasha, not sure where you are today, but thank you so much for the hard work. And congratulations on becoming our second gold legend. Of course, who do you think was the first? Utkarsh. He did that in December. So after 3 years of working on this recognition program, we have 2 gold legends. And it's a testament to the commitment to get to these levels. So again, I love this community. I love the hard work that everybody's putting into it. And Sasha, thank you for everything. And thank you to everybody for this amazing hard work you have put into this community. I can't, open source communities don't just happen. We really have to work at it. And I think because Ortelius really has a heart to it, that this community has grown. We probably have the most active community right now at the Continuous Delivery Foundation. Now, that doesn't mean that we have the most adopters of our tool, which is an area that we need to work on. Or obviously, Jenkins and Tekton are the 2 really big projects that corporations around the world use. But in terms of contributions from contributors that are not paid by their company to do the work, this is the most active. So what I've learned over the course of time is when we hear about open source projects, oftentimes what it is a company like an IBM or a Google, or an Apple. They have their own open source projects. They pay their developers to write this code, and they go off and create it. Now, Jenkins was not like that. Jenkins was written by KK and Kosuke. He wrote it out of a true willingness to help the DevOps community automate the steps in the production of software. And he did that on his own. He was not paid by a company to do that. He did it completely on his own, even though there was a deal with his current employer where they said, well, you may have used some of our work, and they had to split it off from Hudson to Jenkins. He still was writing it on his own, and he built a community around it. And if you've ever met him, you would understand why everybody wanted to work with him. He's a very kind soul. He's serious about helping others, and he's a great mentor. We have modeled Ortelius as much as possible around Jenkins. And in fact, the Jenkins community helped us stand up a lot of what we do. So I mention this because I want to say thank you to the Jenkins community, because they've done such a great job of being a model for us, and they continue to help us on anything that we need. And on that, I want to remind everybody, aliens are real. We do have community meetings. We have a regular outreach meeting and architecture meetings, I believe, every other week. If you are not on our Google group, please sign up for the Ortelius Google groups, and you will get notifications of when the meetings are. And I'm hoping that when you learn about the Hero project, which is last on the list today, but you can watch it anytime because they're all recorded, that you'll be able to understand what we're trying to do next, how Ortelius would serve as the evidence store where security data is being gathered. CD events would eliminate the need for evasive plugins in every workflow to get that done, and that we really do need a set of first responders, and sometimes they're in the form of aliens.